today we're going to do another detailed walk around, and we have 47 CJ2, right?
CJ2A.
CJ2A. So we have the owner, Mike Missak, here. And so first of all, I want to know, like, how did you get this, or how long have you had it?
I've had this for 5 years, maybe, give or take. I found it on Craigslist. For whatever reason, I've always wanted an old Jeep. So I sold a 97 TJ to buy the 47 CJ, and I still had to put more money into it. But I found it on Craigslist. The guy lived in McHenry, but he had a barn in northern Wisconsin, and he said, if you're really interested, I'll bring it back to McHenry. I'm like, well, I'm not going to commit to buying it without seeing it, but I'm really interested. So I brought it back to McHenry. It had a matching military trailer, and it ran and drove.
Did you get the trailer too?
I do. I have the trailer too.
Okay.
We'll show you that.
All right.
No brakes. It was a complete mouse house. Ran and drove. No second gear. And it was painted with house paint and roller. It looked like brushed on. This is rattle can, so much better.
You have pictures you can probably give us so we can, like, put some of those
yeah,
up maybe?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So it was pretty rough.
So then you did a whole frame off basically then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a frame off restoration,
yeah,
but a frame off for sure. We took the body off. We were down to just a frame and axles. Removed every wire there possibly was. It was like Scotch lock after Scotch lock. It was the worst.
Brutal.
And then we went through the motor. We re-gasketed everything to stop it from leaking. That was a funny joke, because
it still does, but that's okay.
yeah, I mean, I think the reality is if they don't leak, that means they're empty.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah.
So we did that. The transmission I pulled out and I had sent out. They put new gears in it.
Oh, really?
And
3-speed?
It is a 3-speed. It tops out at like 50 downhill, and you better be holding on. And the motor's screaming. They do make an overdrive for it, which I want to get, but I don't know. Pull the motor apart. We sent the head out to be decked, and same with the flywheel. Put new clutch in.
Okay, yeah.
Put new everything back in. I figured if it's all out.
Well, it's hard to find those parts.
The parts are super easy to find. You could actually go down and say, I want this bolt.
Really?
Yeah, these parts are super easy.
From that Willys catalog?
Yeah.
That guy?
So now it's Kaiser Willys bought out. There used to be a few different places. Kaiser Willys bought it all out now. Yeah. So all new gauges. We rattle canned it. It's not the prettiest, but it's mechanically sound. Most recently, we just put all disc brakes on it.
Oh, you did?
So we've got a video which you could share showing us how this thing used to stop. Now I can actually lock up the tires.
Oh, wow.
So the funny part about the disc brakes is, and the purists will hate this, but there's a guy out there called Brennan's Garage who did all the homework on the bracketry.
Yeah,
and did the homework on what parts you need to buy. So the parts are all off of a what is a Chevy?
looks like a Chevette almost.
Chevy Tracker, Geo Tracker, I think they are.
It's that new.
Yeah. And the hoses on the back are from a Honda Accord. So again, someone did all the homework in figuring out the parts that needed to be
and did the guy custom make this bracket then?
So what I purchased was basically the bracketry and the guy's know-how of what parts to make it work.
And it's a solid rotor.
Yep. And it now,
wow.
It's not even a comparable difference on how it stops. Before it was, you had to pray, downshift, and hope the brake pedal actually worked. Now, if you actually rest your foot on the brake pedal, it'll actually come to a stop.
He actually has insane. A funny video of this Jeep is trying to kill me.
Yeah,
so that
it's true. Like it's true.
Every time I take it out, it tries to kill me.
Yeah, and now it doesn't feel like it's gonna kill me anymore.
Well, and when you're sitting in it, your head is above the windshield.
It's close, and
no
the steering wheel is completely in your gut.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I was any bigger, and it being taller, you're sitting on top of the gas tank. I mean, everything about it is like it's like driving a tractor. You're probably safer on a motorcycle, right? But it's yeah. We can show you under
Well,
the
can
hood.
we? Can we look under the hood and everything? Newer radiator looks like.
Yeah, the radiator. I still have the original radiator just because I couldn't get rid of it. Maybe I'll get it redone.
Well, this has got to be way more efficient then.
Yeah, this is honestly, that's an Amazon knockoff.
Yeah.
But it works.
I know. I put one in mine and it works great.
Electronic ignition I did go to.
Protronics?
Yeah, well, it's not Protronics, but it's a similar setup.
Okay.
This is 12 volts. Normally this is a generator here, and you've got your rectifier and everything on the fender. This is a one-wire 12-volt alternator.
Like a GM?
Yep, and it basically we kind of made a mount and made it work with the belt here.
Yeah.
But it powers everything rather than the old generator. Still got the big starter in the back, which still starts with the push button floor button.
Oh, you have to show us that too.
So yeah, so starting it is definitely a trick, especially because there's no emergency brakes. So there's you hope you don't roll as you push.
No
this.
emergency brake.
Well, there should be a parking brake, and I'll show you. There's a hole inside, but I don't have all the parts for it. Never did.
Stock carburetor.
Stock carb. I
Exhaust,
sent
intake.
the stock carburetor out to a guy in Kenosha, Carb Lab, and the guy's a freaking whiz. And sent it back. I bolted it on. It looked brand new when it came back, and you don't even need to choke the thing. It just starts right up.
Does he do like 4 barrels and other
He will
carburetors
do,
too?
if it's a carburetor, he will. It doesn't matter if it's automotive, airplane, marine. If it's a carburetor, he knows how to fix it.
Because there's a lot of guys that need carburetors. What was his name again?
It's called Carb Lab. He's in Kenosha, and
Okay.
he works out of a U-Haul storage facility. It's the weirdest thing, and the guy is an absolute genius with carburetors. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's
Unbelievable.
That's really good to know.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise it's the whole. We had the whole motor out. We painted it this drab green. It's filthy now, but
So your son helped you with this too, right?
yep.
Isn't
So
there pictures of him?
Charlie,
pretty
he
young?
was probably 6 at the time, maybe. So he sits there. He understands how the clutch works, how the 4-wheel drive system, the transfer case. So he got to tear it all apart. The transfer case we tore all apart. Went through that. Regasketed the transfer case. All new U-joints, all new brake lines.
Did you do that in your own house or?
We pulled it all apart here. There's a guy in Lakemore called Lakemore Transmissions who did the transfer case and transmission.
Okay. So you have a
And-
cherry picker and all that stuff to. pull
Yeah,
it
I
out?
borrowed one from a buddy.
Yeah.
Yep, the cherry picker anyway. And then,
It's neat that you still have a lot of the same wiring.
so that
The
is,
old-
someone
Get that?
from that, there's a guy who builds just these wiring harnesses with that braided, wire.
Yeah, the way it used to be.
Yep.
So is this original or is that?
No, that's
That's
a
the new-
whole new kit. It was about $300 for every wire, and then the best part is the wiring diagram that he gives you is something like it looks like he drew up on a napkin, and when you buy the wiring kit, that's how it comes. And there's no fuses on anything. I actually added some fuses
There's
just because.
no fuses.
No, absolutely no fuses. In fact, when we put the first wire in, the gauge was grounding. The bracket that holds the gauge on was grounding out a wire, and the whole garage was full of smoke because one of the wires smoked out. Because there's absolutely no fuses on these things, and everything runs through. All the
is
main
it, right?
connections run through the headlight switch. Like,
Really?
all the main connections are like they tie in at the headlight switch or right here on this bus bar here. But it is the most bare bones basic, and that's obviously not the original horn, but
I can't believe they didn't fuse them.
I'm not
You would
kidding
think
you,
like
the
there's
whole
a way these
garage
bounce
filled
around.
with-
You've seen those videos in the 40s, and when they're
nothing.
bouncing around in the.
Yeah, there's not a single fuse on this thing.
Wow.
I did add turn signals, so these are LED lights in here that are also act as blinkers.
And this always cracked me up. The one. It doesn't have shackles on both sides.
Yep.
Just the C
Just this-
shackle.
Yep.
Wonder why they did that.
I don't know, and that steering is obviously really archaic,
Yeah.
and it's interesting too. So
Comes out in the middle.
these knuckles too. It's so interesting when you talk to people about what kind of like oil they run, whether it be transfer case, the steering box, or these knuckles, or the engine.
The gear oil.
there's people out there that actually take specific oil and they blend it in their blender to come up with a specific concoction. So I was looking for the oil that goes into these steering knuckles, and I actually ended up at a John Deere dealer, and it's called cornhead grease, and it goes in some agricultural stuff. But some guy's telling me that you're supposed to take this cornhead grease, put it in a blender, and blend it with, you know, some other kind of mineral oil. And I'm just, you know, at some point in the 80 years of this life of this vehicle, someone's put the wrong stuff in it. So I imagine if I give it at least somewhat of an attempt.
Well, because this is separate grease from the axle then, right?
Correct, yeah. That whole
So
head
where do you fill this? Is there a plug on the top?
Yeah, it's...
Where do you take the kingpin?
I'm honestly trying to remember. I think it's on the other side.
Okay.
But all new shocks, and again, those are, you know...
Now, what kind of hubs are these? Look at that.
There, look out.
Do that again. Oh, wow. Okay. Never seen that.
Yep. So I've honestly, I mean, never really fooled with it, to be honest with you. But when you put it in full drive, you lock the fronts.
That's so much easier than in the middle where
Yeah, right.
remember those?
Yeah. I forget what they call these. Yeah, there's a few different styles of these.
This could get knocked off on rocks and everything though too. I mean, so I guess I know why they put it in the middle. So
sure.
It's protected a little bit, but
yep.
For what these guys are using it for the intended purpose.
Yep.
That would probably work fine, right?
And then the tires are actually new. There's a company called Coker Tire.
Coker Tire, yeah.
And, you know, you can get the replicas, if you will.
Are they loud?
No. I mean, nothing's louder than the engine screaming at you at 5,000 RPM.
Tread, do you think that would be like loud?
Well,
like
again,
like a super
35 is fast enough. So, yeah, it's not horrible.
A lot of air pressure?
These actually have tubes in them.
They have tubes in them?
Yeah. I want to say it's in the... I don't remember, to be honest with you. It's been a while since I've even fooled with it.
Did you have to do anything to the body to... I mean, a little bit of weld here and here.
Yeah, we actually, no, that was all there. The only thing I did, I really didn't do anything to the body. We took, I put a new gasket under the windshield there. But body-wise, I didn't do much. We sanded it down, and this is like 15 cans of rattle can. Is what this is. My buddy did this. He reupholstered the seats for us.
Who did that so people know if they want?
He doesn't do it for. Yeah, he doesn't do it for business. Turn signals were added, which is cheesy, but I don't know what else you do. It's basically like a golf cart turn signal system. Yeah. So we added a flasher under the dash and then added that. This tells you when your brights are on. The bright light switch, which is broken because it's a cheap China knockoff one. On the left there, like, you know, an old school one would be.
Yep.
And then up on the right in the center, that's where you start the vehicle.
Oh, that's the starter button.
Yep. And it will turn over regardless of what's going on.
Oh,
so
if it's in gear?
If it's in gear and you push that, you're going.
Oh, man.
Yep. So actually, like, the brake pedal I need to actually probably put in now, because before that pedal would go all the way to the floor before I would stop. And now when you push it, like, that's it. That's the difference.
So was that a new master then with the disc brake kit?
The same master cylinder, which is just a one single piston,
okay.
Which I was actually surprised by. I'm like, I didn't think it'd have enough. Same master that was standard with this. I replaced it with a new one, but it's the same style. And then all the gauges were replaced. We put 710 miles on it since we've redone it. And the only one that's kind of, so the amp gauge was more designed for that starter generator system, because now I really should have a voltage gauge on it.
Really.
Yeah, because that doesn't really tell me much anymore.
But does it charge, discharge at least?
I can at least watch it move and I know it's charging. So if I see it moving, I know it's charging.
Right.
Otherwise, the only other gauge I honestly haven't fooled with was the fuel gauge, because that's the one wire that got smoked out and I haven't put it back in.
Great.
Yeah.
And speaking of fuel gauge, your tank's right here.
Yep, tank's there. Sending unit here. Goes up.
Was it like a 10 or 11 gallon?
I don't even know if it's that. Yeah. Every time I just fill it every so many times I go out, and I mean, you can see. Oh, needs more gas, you know. So I haven't really fooled with the gas gauge. It's more the simple fact of when you sit in it as a driver, we'll sit in it. It's not comfortable.
And it doesn't move.
Nothing moves. The seat doesn't move.
And you're 6'2"?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You know, it's not horrible, but
none of the Army guys are fat, so you don't have to worry about that. So.
And I did put seatbelts in, which sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I'd rather just bail or be strapped to this thing. So I don't know what makes more sense.
Oh, wow. That's right there.
Yeah, right. So I need to adjust the pedal because before I needed that much room for the pedal to go to the floor.
Oh,
windshield
is this
wiper.
Manual wiper?
Yeah.
I don't want to scratch the glass.
No, you're fine.
Is it there? Look at that. Wow. And that's how they were, right?
Yeah, I mean, they did have motors, and some of them you could add, but that's it. I mean, we had to use it once. It's no fun getting stuck in the ring.
Do you have a top for this?
No, this is it. Yeah, and then this will open. It's kind of a pain, but you can.
A lot of linkage there.
Yeah, you can open this thing.
You can at least kick it. Oh, there you go. Okay. Get a little air coming in, huh?
And like every Jeep, even up to 2024, these fold down.
Yeah, right.
You know, and then this is supposed to be the horn button.
Oh, okay.
But you gotta fish the wire down the center of the steering column, and I didn't do it before the steering column, before the shaft went in.
Too late now, right?
And you probably could do it, but we just went with the old reliable.
Perfect.
And then that open hole.
Choke.
Yep, that's choke. They have, this is supposed to be a throttle. So in theory, when you go to start it with your foot, you don't need to use, that's how you can give it gas. When I started, I used my heel on the gas pedal.
Heel and toe in it, huh?
Yeah. And then this here is where the parking brake is supposed to be. You pull it out and turn it. Yeah, and Charlie asked me the other day, I have no idea how many miles are actually on it.
Oh, yeah, true.
You know, who knows what the story of this thing is,
Yeah.
I have no idea. I still have the original.
Where do they put the VIN plate on?
It's not even on. It's etched in there, but I have the original Bantam VIN plate that I got to put back in.
It's a Bantam.
Not Bantam, Willys. The trailer I have is a Bantam Willys.
Okay.
Yeah. So the trailer's cool, but
it's got the same kind of tires.
Yep, same thing. Yeah, we can show it to you.
So you put disc on the back too?
Did all four. Yeah, I figured if I'm gonna do it.
Same rotors and calipers?
It's the same thing. The only thing different back here is the hoses up front are the same Jeep hoses from the drums.
Okay.
These are from like the Honda Accords. It's so weird. Yeah.
But it's easy to get parts if you need them. Then,
that's just it. Yeah. You know, and I'm sure there's people. Oh, well, it's not. You know, it's not this. But I mean, our purpose is being like, I just want it to be safe. You know.
Speaking of this, Mike runs our Jeeps on the Run Club. He's the head of it. And is it the largest Jeep Toys for Tots in the Illinois area?
It is.
Maybe the Midwest?
It's the largest single donating group to Toys for Tots in Northern Illinois. But that's only because they don't, maybe other places.
Yeah, maybe bigger.
But even larger than like the only person that beat us in the last number of years is a toy manufacturer. And they even told us that the toys they donated were toys that no one wanted because they couldn't sell them. So they said even at that, they were toys they didn't want to give out. So he said, you guys are still take the ring.
Well, talk about this a little bit then. So you have, it started what, 10, 12 years ago?
So we'll be 11, this December will be 11 years. It started with going to McHenry's Cruise Night.
Okay.
And the kids were like, you know, obviously I've put Jeep in their brains. So the kids like, I don't want to see just hot rods and all this. The cars were the Jeeps. So this Facebook wasn't huge then. We looked for some Jeep clubs and there really wasn't much to be. And a few of the clubs were like, you know, we'll put, you know, I was trying to just get something out to get a few Jeeps together to go to lunch or dinner, and just kind of kept putting it to the back burner. So I said, forget it. So Jeeps on the Run Facebook page was born, and 11 years later we got just under 10,000 members, and the runs we do, the last run has, we've had upwards of 800 plus Jeeps come and police escorted rides, and now we'll be giving away a brand new 2024 Jeep Wrangler. So $20 ticket. So yeah, jeepsontherun.com, and we teamed up with a Jeep dealership, Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. They're donating a Jeep for us, And
I've seen it. It's sweet.
yeah, 100% of that money goes back to the
Brand new.
kids. Yeah, it's brand new Jeep. So
It's really cool.
yeah, it's pretty slick.
But this is really neat because the money raised, from when it's like 25 or 30 bucks a Jeep.
Yep.
That goes to buy more toys, and we
Yep.
got to be part of that last year.
Yeah,
So
few years now.
It was so cool that my wife and kids came, and then Mike's like, grab a cart. We went into Walmart. And
That's the best
They
part.
shut the whole side down for us, and we had what, 30 people there maybe?
Yeah.
25?
Yeah, 20 to 30 people. Yeah.
Everybody grabs a cart and you go get what you want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm into trucks and that kind of stuff. So he's like, go grab trucks and models and stuff. So
Right.
and the girls went and grabbed stuff for the girls.
Yeah.
And then the line of toys we had.
Yeah, we spent an
Beyond
additional
what was raised.
30 grand
run.
that day. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we're up over almost $2 million in donations to Toys for Tots, as well as we've done some other charitable stuff. But it's people like, and here
And it's gonna be,
I met you through it, right? We've
Yeah.
met some great people through it,
Yeah.
so it's cool. That's what it's about.
I've been a part of it for about 4 years now. So the first year I heard about it was you guys were at the bowling alley
In
in
Johnsburg.
Johnsburg.
Yep.
So I told my nephew, I'm like, hey, let's go check this thing out. It was like Sunday afternoon or something, or maybe it was Saturday afternoon. So me and him hopped in a car and went, and I'm like, oh wow, look at this. It was snowing, the parking lot was covered, and all the Jeeps pulled in the grass.
Yep.
So I'm like, wow, look at this. There's like 50 to 100 Jeeps here. This is really cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the next year, you got more bigger and bigger, and then the next year, my Jeep was finally ready, so I could get in there.
Yep.
So, and now, wow, the first year, I think it was like 750. It took up both parking lots,
Yep.
both sides of the street.
That was one of our
the
bigger years.
dealerships.
Yeah, we fluctuated, and then the Department of Transportation got involved and said, "Hey,
Oh, is that what it was?
yeah," they
Oh.
said you can't shut down traffic in
For that
one
long.
single intersection. We had at one point that we were like 12 miles long of Jeeps. You imagine sitting at an intersection for 45
Yeah.
minutes, right? I get emails after the day, like I went and bought ice cream. I got home and I had soup. You guys all.
I remember that one.
I hate Jeeps.
I
And
actually
then
remember that one.
you get the emails that say, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. How do I be a part of it?"
You get both sides.
You get both sides. Last year we had nothing but positive, so it was it was good. But to
And
be
then-
fair, I wouldn't want to be stuck in an intersection for an hour
45
either. I don't
minutes.
care what you're doing, right? It is what it is.
Well, this year is what, December 4th?
December 3rd this year.
Third?
It's always the first Sunday in December.
Right.
So December 3rd, we'll meet at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fox Lake, and
And registration starts,
soon.
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 Because it was November usually.
No, I'm close this year. We're gonna kick it off.
Okay.
I'm close. Yeah.
So I encourage you guys to get in soon because it fills up. The first 500, right?
Yep. But if you
500?
don't have a Jeep or you miss the first 500, you can still come to the after party. We're gonna have bands and we're gonna have some awesome stuff. You can still come to that and win the Jeep too. So, jeepsontherun.com. You can check out all the details there.
And you can check out I have videos on it that we do every year of like how the decorations are crazy. What people do.
Yeah.
to decorate
Some of the
our-
decorations.
And you have another YouTube channel, the Midwest Outdoor.
Yep, Midwest Adventure Life.
Adventure.
It shows just outdoor camping, jet skiing, just all the random outdoor adventure stuff we do. So
Yep. Obviously no fuel tank back here. So what's underneath this then?
pretty much nothing, just the
Just-
drive shaft that back there. There's
Tires here.
Yep, there's an option for I had a PTO
Oh.
takeoff for
Right.
plows and other accessories that you could drive from the
Yep.
the drive shaft. One thing I learned from someone at a car show is they said, "Did you know why they have this this tread pattern?"
Probably because it'd be like going across a bridge with all the, expansion joints, bum, 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 and
Well-
it just kind of break it up.
What he said is because you can't tell if the Jeep went this way or this way. There's no V to know what way the vehicle went. So if someone saw patterns in the sand or mud, they wouldn't know if it was coming or going.
Ooh,
Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but
makes a great story.
yeah, right. Yeah.
See, there's stuff like that you don't even think of.
Yes, I was at a car show and the guy had you know him, or at least met him. He's got the beautiful Comanche truck that he redid, that tan one.
Yo, he has the bear on the side.
Yeah, exactly. And he was telling me about that. So again, whether
Oh,
it's
he
true,
would know.
he would know. I'm thinking odds are good it was true. Yes.
Oh, and these, I remember these on the CJ. Like, this was one piece. These would always loosen up, right?
Yep. Yeah,
So
the
that
other
was
one's
a
got the cap on
major-
it, but Yeah, I can't.
And the hub, it would be like a spline. There would be a Woodruff key in there, and it would shear.
Yep.
And then you're stranded.
Yep. And the other interesting thing is, obviously, before we change these brakes out, is the lug nuts are actually right and left-hand thread, depending what side of the Jeeps they are. So if you didn't know what you were doing, you'd strip out your lug nuts because you know.
Mopar did that for a lot of years too.
Sure. Yeah. Same thing. Now it's not because of I got new studs in there for the.
That's actually a fun trick you can play on somebody if you're sitting there in an old Mopar and the guy will let you, and you tell somebody, hey, take the lug nut off.
Yeah. Right. They have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the left side.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yep.
You start it up for us?
Yeah.
You hear it? Well, here, let's watch you start it up. I want to see this foot thing over here. Oh, the transfer case. You got 2 sticks down here.
So this engages your 4-wheel drive, and then this is your low, neutral, and your high. And then obviously you got to lock your hubs too.
Okay, so when you're
in theory you could
neutral?
be or
high or low.
You could be in 2-wheel drive low even.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
So clutch, turn the key on, it activates the ignition. Yeah. So normally you would have a throttle adjust here that you could add throttle to it. But
wow. Can we take it for a spin?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Oh, these seats are pretty comfy actually.
They're not horrible. So the other thing too is like kind of used to driving where reverse is down, you know, back here, when first is up left. So the first few times you'll be at a stoplight and you're going to put it in first, and then you realize that's reverse.
I had a CJ5 that did that. Reverse was up.
Yeah, that's
up
what
and
this
to the
is.
left.
So now I'm used to it now, but the first few times I was like, oh man.
That's about what, 40 top type?
You can do 50. 40 is comfortable,
but then you're
screaming at 50. Like, I mean, right now we're out of gear. That's it. We're out of gear at 23. You know, but I mean, it'll do it. Now here's the brakes.
Way better. Like
now,
stuff's coming forward here.
Now before, you would never. You would have been in that guy's front yard.
It's actually really not. It's comfortable.
It's not bad, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, the seats help out a lot. No, it's not.
It's a little rough, but it's a Jeep.
And you use it in quite a few parades too, right?
Yeah.
So overheating. I mean, it was hot this last one.
So the last one was, if the parade was much longer, we would have been in trouble. I was about
close.
Yeah, I was about, a little over 200. Otherwise, this thing runs pretty smooth.
So is this something you can buy these days?
Yeah, I actually got that aftermarket, or from that Kaiser Willys.
Okay. Yeah, they seem to have everything.
They really do.
I mean, you can buy all this stuff, the screws.
This I had to get a seal I had to get from somebody else, but other than that, pretty much everything you can get from them.
Was this like somebody had a radio in here maybe?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. I would agree.
And then what was another?
That's the emergency brake. Or parking brake.
Pulled it.
You pull it out and twist it. It's like it ratchets.
Yep.
And then it actually locks. It's on the axle. That it locks on the axle.
Oh, it's
almost like a drum on the axle.
Right. Is that still there? Is the drum still?
Not all the parts are there now.
On this, no problem.
Right? It's not bad.
No.
This is the only sketchy road for me, but from here to there, it's like 50 miles. You got people like, normally people give me the thumbs up, you know?
Yeah, they don't worry about it.
Before, it was a lot of downshifting. They want me to stop, but these brakes are, I mean, not even comparable.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't know if you're gonna stop. That's the worst. Use the ball all the time on the steering wheel.
Yeah, I find it helpful, especially in tight parking spots.
Well, when you're rolling, it's pretty easy to turn too, right? Yeah.
And it tracks pretty straight.
Yeah, look at that.
You can hear it screaming, right? I mean,
That's probably going about what, $5,000 maybe?
yeah, if I had to guess.
It'd be interesting to put a tag on it and see what it does.
I'm kind of curious. Yeah.
How much do you drive it every year, you think?
I mean, not as much as I'd like to, but now that I have, you know, the brakes on it, I feel a little better.
Right.
But I mean, I've had it for a couple of years and I got 700 miles, so not a lot. The first couple of years too, we were working out some bugs with the alternator and the voltage system. And
That's been done for how many years?
I would say done for maybe 2 to 3.
Okay.
Let's do low range. It's crazy.
Well, it's probably still two-wheel drive since the hubs aren't locked,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
You're already in what, second gear?
Oh yeah, in second gear. Third gear first.
You can take off in third gear too.
You probably could. I mean, first is just total crawl.
Yeah. Now you're at 10.
Not even, you're at 5 miles an hour doing,
It would be neat to see what kind of a grade this thing can pull.
right?
Is this the only manual vehicle you have right now?
Right now, yes.
So you don't get mixed up with the patterns of...
No, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm in this one today. I gotta...
Yes, correct. When I first started, that was the thing. Like, I've been at a stoplight and you like go to first, and you start letting off the clutch.
Oh,
you're like,
feel it?
yeah, that's not it. Yeah, right, feel it.
Was this 6-volt originally?
It was originally 6-volt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you guys... You had changed bulbs?
It was 12 when I bought it.
I think it's going to be huge.
The brakes are huge. That was the best thing I did. I took me 3 years to pull the trigger on it, and I should have done it 3 years ago because it makes it drivable. It's enjoyable to drive. Before it was just almost damn scary.
It's something you can do by yourself in your
You can do it by yourself, yeah. There was definitely some hurdles. I actually had a buddy of mine do it for me. Didn't even have the time.
Oh, okay.
But there were some small hurdles that we had to overcome. But there's no welding or anything.
$1,000 altogether for parts?
I don't think it was even that. I think the kit was $150 for.
Oh wow.
For front and back, and I think I was $400 into all the parts. So
then you sourced like the rotors and the calipers.
Yep.
The parts.
I went to Rock Auto and it showed up at my house.
Right, even better.
I think it was $400 for all the parts.
Wow.
$500 total.
I mean, what a difference for like knowing you're going to stop and the pedal feel.
Yeah.
Like
the first time I got in it after the job was done, I damn near went through the windshield.
Man.
Yeah. It was no joke.
That's funny.
So yeah.
All right,
That's
man.
the 47 Willys.
Well, thank you for the ride.
Yeah, thanks for
the look around.
Yeah,
Here's what it looks like inside here. I'm actually surprised at how cushy these seats are. They're really nice.
Yeah, they're not bad. But my guy added some stuff to them.
I was going to say, originally, were they...
They were this thick, but they were like a really, and again, I don't know if they were original. I doubt they were original, but when I had them, they were this like, almost like a boat cushion, like really tough vinyl where if you sat on it, you'd hear it crack. You know
what he put in here? Just regular foam?
I have no idea. That I don't know.
Because they're really nice.
And there was no back seat when I bought it, the Jeep. So this, I got the frame off Kaiser Willys, and then he built up the padding and built up everything. Otherwise, the frame is just literally, you just buy it. It's a metal bench basically. And this one's missing. It normally is supposed to actually snap in. This back seat snaps in and out. But you'll see this. Someone put a plate under here because there's a little bit of rot on the bed.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we just bolted it in again, and not original seat belts, which again I don't know if it's good or bad, but they're there nonetheless.
Especially if you roll or something. Yeah. So, were these originally chrome? You think?
I think these were. Yeah, it is originally chrome, or I mean they're obviously pitted, but and again, so these headlights. So originally, the military's one You see, you got your 7 slots that
Right.
we have today, right? So the military one had more than 7 slots. They pushed out here, and the headlights were much smaller up here.
Oh yeah.
So
right.
when they became civilian Jeeps, they made the headlights more functionable, and then that's the civilian Jeep is the first one with the 7 slots. You know, rumor is 7 slots is for every continent that the Jeep has been on. You know, there's a whole bunch of
Oh man,
thoughts there, but
the rumors with the Jeep thing is like,
yeah,
you
and
know,
who knows, right?
JP.
Who knows what it is? But so the CJ is the first one to have the 7 slots. And then there was the DJs and the male Jeeps, right?
Yeah.
And the DJ I think had 5 slots.
Yeah.
You know? But I mean,
Were these originally wood too?
that's a good question. People have asked me that, and I don't know if those were originally wood or rubber or what they were. I imagine they probably weren't rubber. And then this is obviously where you tie your windshield down when it lands, you know. And then it's cool. So it says Willys here, and if you look in here, in fact, you can see where it says Jeep in there. And the new Jeep dealers, that is on their wallpaper now. People are like, where has it ever said Jeep in that writing? So they're making the new Jeep dealers have all this new,
like a script or something?
yeah, it's kind of like cursive. See it?
Oh yeah.
It's really hard to see.
Yeah, you can see it. So I wonder how they put the Jeep name
So
in there.
the Jeep, so supposedly these were general purposes. They were called the GPs for general purpose, and then GP sounds like Jeep. So I guess that's where that came from. But at this point, I think Willys had already owned the rights to the Jeep name, where that came in. The history is kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't there at that time, but we had the opportunity of meeting. So he's one of the marketing directors for Jeep. I met with him at the Chicago Auto Show. It was an awesome experience. Brandon is his name, and he has 2 CJs, and his knowledge with the history of this thing is
That was the guy
awesome.
who had the one back by the collection.
He knew that guy,
Okay.
but he was another one. Claremont Car Collection.
Yep.
They have a CJ2, and it was one of 6 made.
Super rare.
And it's right here in the city. There's a museum that they have it.
Well,
But
we have video of that too.
yeah,
People
but
can go back and look at.
no less.
So.
I'm not, unfortunately, some of the history is fuzzy, but it is cool.
All right. Well, thanks for the ride.
Yeah.
Thanks for all you do for our club too.
Oh, thanks
You
for
know?
being part of it.
It's a lot of work. I know that.
Yeah. Well, you guys chipped in your fair share.
Yeah. Well, it's a real blast doing the Jeeps on the Run Club. And they're very active on Facebook. I mean, almost every day somebody's putting something
it's
up
an
there.
active group for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And for the most part, it's not a Jeep bashing group. There's, you can have an angry eye grill, and we don't throw you out, right?
No, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's for sales pages on there too.
Yep.
People are
You can
selling
list. Yeah.
wheels and tires all the time. So.
For sure.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you bet.
All right.